All right, CFW, let's go through this week's program. And then we're getting close to the end of the cycle. We're going to start something real soon. I've got some fun things kind of planned coming up. I know that some of you that are really looking into the details are probably looking at the bottom of the sheet and seeing some of the cycles ahead. But hey, maybe I might change the course. You don't know. Maybe we'll do something completely different. I have no idea. That's the kind of the fun of it. So anyways, to jump into the first day, back squats as usual. So the first part is more about just like gradually warming up the system to the weight that we're going to use for our working sets. And our working sets all are going to be at 1 rep in reserve. So it's challenging. So we're ideally keeping the same weight across the board. It's not a 5 rep max. Remember, if it is a 5 rep max, then we can't do it for 5 sets of 5. But we want to think about, okay, there's probably 1 rep left in the tank there, if anything, and it is heavier than last week. For those that are newer, like as usual, it's like don't jump right into that because we need to build the skill of actually doing back squats and making sure we have the range and we're moving efficiently to do it in the first place. So when you do get into this today, it's like make sure you use those sets to really dial in the technique, the range of motion, the positioning, get all of that down before you even really worry about the weight, because the weight is just going to add more of a challenge. And then if you're just kind of focusing more on getting the weight up, you're going to lose positioning or kind of lean back into old patterns, which is not the point of this. The point is to really break through the old patterns and start moving better, especially those of you who need more work with range of motion or even the patterning of how to do the squat. So keep that in mind. The weight is more about adding that load when things are moving efficiently. For the strength, our workout to get the week started, we got a fun one for time: 400-meter run, 40 dumbbell snatches, 40 lateral burpees over the dumbbell for time. 10 minutes. Let's get through that. The goal is to get this one done. If you really look at it, you can think of each movement or each section as 3 minutes and 20 seconds to get it done underneath the time cap. But I don't want you to just like look at it that way. I want you to push the pace on each movement. So the run, I'm imagining 2 minutes or less for those of you more kind of confident with the running. It might be a little bit over than that, but remember, you're also going to pace that in such a way that you can still keep moving on the dumbbell snatches and keep moving on the burpees. I would say the most amount of time you're going to spend is on the run and the run and the burpees. So the dumbbell snatches will actually be shorter than what you think, but the run and the dumbbell burpees over the dumbbell are going to be the hard part in terms of just timing, how long it takes and the cycle rate of it. So goal is to complete this workout or get very, very close to finishing. I would say most of you will probably be able to finish this one underneath the time cap as long as we're kind of pushing the pace. If we need to scale for any reason, so let's say even starting with the run, if the run's going to take, if you're not running the whole thing unbroken, I would definitely scale that to a 200-meter run, or running just to I think there's like a no parking sign that's just outside the garage doors to the right side. You can run there and back. The idea is to be running the whole time, not sprinting, but running the whole time there. So when you get back into the dumbbell snatches, you should be at least around that kind of 2-3 minute mark to start the dumbbell snatches. And then we're looking at that kind of 5-6 minute mark to start the burpees. And then it's just a grind until the end, you get that done. So good one to start the week. And then we're going to follow that up with Tuesday. So Tuesday's conditioning, we've been kind of working on our pacing. The real focus here is like kind of finding your gears and like understanding how fast to go in order to sustain. So this one is 5 rounds for reps, 1 minute of box jump overs, 1 minute of wall balls, 1 minute of rowing calories, and then 1 minute rest. The idea is to be moving consistently, kind of aiming to be kind of at that 7 or even 8 out of 10. I would say leave that kind of 8 out of 10 intensity for the 4th or 5th round, but majority of it's kind of like that 7 out of 10. So you're working, but it's not like super challenging where you're dying, because the 1 minute rest there shouldn't be like should be a good enough rest to be able to get back into it and give the same amount of intensity. But if you're going so hard that like in that 1 minute rest, you feel like I need longer. And I'm going to barely make it through that round. You're going a little too hard in those intervals there. The intended volume, box jump over, is something we can do about 12 to 20. Ball shots, 15 to 20. And then the calories, 12 to 20. So approximately around there. You might be over. I would say over, if anything, not below those numbers, in order to just get enough movement in that time domain. When we're done these 5 rounds, we're just going to cool off 10 minutes on any machine. I like doing this at the end just to kind of get the nervous system back to kind of gear 1, rather than kind of finishing the workout and like you're on that like gear 6 and then you're just like leaving out there and your brain's like all over the place. It's just like kind of calm it, bring it back down to earth again. 10 minutes, easy, any machine. You can kind of alternate between rowing and biking if you'd like, or just keep it up biking, up to you. But at 60%. So just like moving, but you can kind of have a conversation at this pace. Like you can talk to somebody as you're doing this. It's not like you're pushing and you're trying to get as many calories in this 10 minutes. So good workout to build endurance and to supplement everything we're doing with the strength work too as well. Wednesday, back to strength work, pull-ups and ring rows. Pull-ups are going to be our main strength builder in terms of like, we're just choosing a progression that's hard to do, 1 to 5 reps, or you're doing some kind of hold. Some of you guys have been working with me with doing a hold at the top of the pull-up, or even at the midway point, just to build strength in those positions. Maybe it's working on slow descents on the way down before we actually attempt pull-ups in the first place. Then the horizontal ring rows should be pretty accessible for most people, where it's going to be 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps, and we're just building stamina here. So just getting to that end point where like we can't really do any more reps. So when you're doing the ring rows, think about just kind of getting close to that muscle fatigue failure area. For the pull-ups, it's more about just working on the strength. So don't take it to failure. That's not the idea with that one. The idea there one is like to really just get really good quality reps and not really go to the point where you're just having to, like, you're not making a rep happen. Make sure all those reps are as perfect as possible with that tempo. And then our workout is going to supplement that pulling motion. We got pushing in this one, AMRAP 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so forth, with adding twos, dual dumbbell push press, dual dumbbell walking lunges. With the walking lunges, hold the dumbbells however you like. No big deal on that one. But the idea here is to work on the upper body strength and stamina. There's going to be a little bit of grip, and the pushing, like the triceps, shoulders, are going to be feeling this one in this 10 minutes. The minimum volume, it's around 10 or more. Try to get to that 10 or more round mark. That's going to make about 30 reps for each movement. And then if you pass that, awesome. I'd say most of you should be able to get there. The weight should be something that I would say, once you get to like the 6s and the 8s, you're like, okay, this is getting hard. I might have to break it up a little bit. But you don't want it to be so heavy that you have to break it up in the 2s and 4s, or so light that you're just like getting to round 20 in this. So we want it to be more of like a strength heavy workout. So when you get to the round of 6 or 8, you are considering in the following rounds to break it up. So you're doing about 4 to 6 in a row before you need to take a break. Okay, so keep that in mind. Thursday, bringing it back down to earth again with letting our nervous system just relax a little bit, especially for those of you going 5 days on. Try to allow our nervous system to relax a little bit. On this day, we're going to be doing our AMRAP 40 at 60 to 70%, row, mountain climbers, skips, bike, hang, and then 30 skips. So the idea is just to be moving in this, and it's not about like trying to get as many rounds as possible. Get a little bit of a sweat on. This is a pace that you could have a little bit of a conversation at, but it is still, you're doing work, but you're not also letting that heart rate drop down too much. So you can think of it kind of like zone 2, but I want to keep this kind of active and use it as a way to also just like explore your movements. So when you're doing the mountain climbers, when you're doing those movements, like make sure you're getting full range of motion. When you're doing the calorie row, like get that graph on the screen and start working on your technique there. This is a really good opportunity to just like dial it in. Go a little slower, bring the damper down a little bit more, and just dial in technique. With the hanging, play around with different mixed grips, right? You don't need to go this way all the time. You could go mixed this way. If you want to play around with like kind of twisting around and kind of going more horizontal with the bar, like play around with different grips. You could hang from the rings, mix it up, have fun with it. Hang from the rope if you want. Just have a little bit of a different kind of style to it. It doesn't need to be super rigid with that. It's more about just like moving today for those 40 minutes at a consistent pace and just like dial it down a little bit. We don't want to go super hard. There's no scoring in this. We don't want to be like scoring the highest or like comparing. This is just about moving today. Friday, May 1st, we got our strength piece, just like Monday, strict press, same idea here, building upper body strength with this one. So 3 sets of 5 for more building and prepping. And then the part B is 5 sets of 5, all at that heavier set there. And we're doing a set every 3 minutes, building upper body strength here. And then our WOD is going to just supplement that or contrast pulling and pushing. So we got 15 minutes, a lot of pulling here. 30 cal row, 60-second dead hang, and then 30 horizontal ring rows. The idea of this one is to just work on the upper body stamina, specifically grip and pulling. So hanging, pulling on the rower, doing horizontal ring rows. We kind of have different directions that we're doing our pulling and hanging from. So today's will be a really good one to build that upper body strength and just do something a little bit different than usual in those 15 minutes. Aim to get 2 rounds or more. Okay, so 2+ rounds, I should say, not just 2 rounds, but 2+ rounds. So you are working in your 3rd round there. I would say most of you should be able to get into that. They are pretty big sets. So if you do 5 minutes a round, that'd be awesome. But a really good one to build upper body strength here. May 2nd, Saturday, 3 rounds for consistency every 12 minutes. Completed in any order, 400-meter run, 500-meter row, 30/25 cal bike here. I'm going to actually give a scaling option with this one too. Let's actually go, 400-meter row with that one. The idea here is to push hard on every round and then have about 1-to-1 rest. So for those that are going to be like hitting this pretty hard, you'll probably have like 6-7 minutes left roughly. I wouldn't want to go past 8 minutes. So try to be done in 8 minutes so that you have at least 4 minutes to kind of rest. It's going to feel long with the rest sometimes, but the idea is to like get the most amount of output in that round. It's not about like just keeping the heart rate up. We want to make sure we get something out of this. And the idea is like getting our heart rate up, getting that intensity up to a level that we can sustain and we can rinse and repeat that. But if we're just going and like our pace is going down, we're not teaching our body or nervous system to be able to perform at that higher level. So today is about that day. It's about pushing the pace hard as you can, but sustainable. And you have 3 rounds to really work on getting consistent. So that means like take your round time and then every round after that, try to match it or even like try to beat it by a little bit. Okay. So those of you got kind of like still working on endurance, the goal would be to just match it. If you're more experienced, then you would want to try to see if you can go down because you can then really dial in what your paces are a little bit better. So other than that, this one's a really good one, not too high skill, just all about engine work today to build that up. Sunday, mobility and strengthening, shoulder and elbow strengthening. We're going to work on the extensors or I'm trying to remember the external rotators. That was the word I'm looking for. So we're going to do some isometrics. Isometrics are super useful to build strength in positions that we don't really get access to that much. We kind of like skip over it. So when we're doing a movement, right, it's more dynamic, and isometric is when we're holding a position. So I like thinking about it. It's like when we get into a certain position in a movement, we can create a lot of strength there by doing isometrics. And then when we start doing the full movement, when we go through that point, we're going to have a lot more strength, and it's going to be another way to access it. In another realm, it helps a lot with mobility and pain too as well, because it's safe for the brain. there's less moving parts. It's more still. So then we can take our time to build more comfort in that position. So those of you that are working on mobility or are struggling with pain, isometrics are awesome to do that because it makes you still build strength. And it gives you safety, if anything, for the brain to feel comfortable to get into that range of motion. So that's going to be the focus for the first part. And then after that, shoulders are worked, more of the lower body for this one, but just kind of getting the cardiovascular system going and getting a good workout in. 5 rounds for time, 15 minutes, 20 air squats, 20 sit-ups, 50 running skips. So goal of this one, 3 minutes a round, or at least like try to get 4+ rounds in the 15 minutes. The pace should feel like an 8 out of 10. So you're moving, getting a good sweat on, but you can kind of keep it consistent across those 5 rounds. Okay, so that's a week of training. Then we got our last week of the cycle, and then we're going to start something brand new going into the summer there. We got some cool little plans coming up, and so stay tuned. Have a good one, guys.